Most people think of sleep as rest, but biologically, it's a construction site. Your body is not shutting down. It's repairing, rebuilding, and rewriting every cell, especially muscle. Sleep is when growth hormone surges. That one thing you do before bed. It acts like a key in the ignition of your anabolic engine. What you do in those last 90 minutes before sleep determines whether your body becomes stronger or starts deteriorating overnight. Your muscles operate according to deeply wired biological systems, and the most dominant force in that equation is your hormonal environment. Hormones are chemical messengers that dictate how your body allocates its energy, whether it stores fat, breaks down muscle, or builds and preserves it. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, surges when you're underslept, overtrained, or exposed to too much stimulation late at night, and it signals your body to break down muscle tissue to mobilize glucose. On the other hand, hormones like growth hormone and testosterone work synergistically to build, repair, and maintain muscle, but they only activate in the right internal state. This means the moment you begin winding down for the night, your behaviors, from what you consume to how much light you're exposed to, either enhance or suppress these hormones. Willpower doesn't override biology. You can't simply decide to build muscle and expect results unless your hormonal environment is optimized. If your cortisol is high and melatonin is low, your body will prioritize survival, not strength. The reason so many people train hard and still lose muscle mass is because they ignore the endocrine triggers that run the whole system. Nutrient timing, sleep hygiene, evening relaxation, and reducing psychological stress all contribute to creating the perfect hormonal storm for muscle preservation. Even simple shifts like avoiding late night screens, stable blood sugar before sleep, or including amino acids in your last meal of the day can dramatically improve anabolic signaling. Hormones are the internal gatekeepers to muscle growth, and they only open the door when the body feels safe, calm, and well regulated. Your muscles are not controlled by motivation, effort, or willpower alone. They respond to the biochemical environment orchestrated by your hormones. Every signal your body receives throughout the day, and especially in the final hours before sleep, either enhances or disrupts your hormonal balance. When cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, rises too high at night due to overthinking, late night work, screen exposure, or even blood sugar fluctuations, it initiates catabolic processes that break down muscle tissue for energy. This breakdown isn't personal. It's biological prioritization. The body sees stress and interprets it as danger, and in survival mode, muscle becomes expendable. On the other hand, anabolic hormones like growth hormone, testosterone, and IGF-1 peak in deep sleep, but only if you've created the internal conditions that support their release. These hormones don't respond to how badly you want to be strong. They respond to how well you've regulated your circadian rhythm, your nervous system, and your metabolic inputs. A single night of poor sleep can reduce testosterone and growth hormone secretion by more than 20%, and this effect compounds over time. Nutrition plays a role too, especially pre-sleep intake. The absence of essential amino acids or the presence of high insulin spiking foods before bed can blunt your hormonal response, sending a signal of metabolic instability instead of repair and growth. Even light exposure, just a few minutes of scrolling your phone, can suppress melatonin and delay the onset of deep sleep, where most muscle repairing hormonal activity occurs. It's not about pushing harder, it's about syncing with your biology. Your muscles are constantly listening for hormonal cues that signal either safety and restoration or threat and depletion. You can lift the heaviest weights and follow the most intense routines, but if your internal chemistry is dominated by stress hormones and poor sleep architecture, you're sending the wrong signal. Muscle maintenance and growth happen in an internal ecosystem that only flourishes when hormones are aligned with your goals. And those hormones take their direction from how you live, how you wind down, how you prioritize rest over stimulation. Ask ChatGPT. One consistent nightly ritual has the power to shift your body from a state of muscle breakdown, catabolism, to one of muscle preservation and growth, anabolism. This isn't about elaborate routines or extreme supplementation. It's about repetition, rhythm, and biological signaling. Your body is a pattern-seeking machine, and it thrives on cues. The more consistent your behaviors become before bed, the stronger the signal your nervous system receives that it's time to transition into recovery and repair. Something as simple as turning off all artificial light, sipping a magnesium-based drink, performing 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing, or journaling in low light can become the switch that reprograms your biology. These rituals aren't random habits. They trigger neurochemical changes. Calming the nervous system lowers cortisol levels and allows melatonin, the hormone of darkness and recovery, to rise naturally. As melatonin increases, it facilitates deeper sleep cycles where growth hormone is released in pulses. Growth hormone is responsible for repairing damaged muscle fibers, synthesizing new tissue, and enhancing fat metabolism, all of which occur predominantly during the first half of the night if your sleep is uninterrupted. The consistency of a pre-sleep ritual reinforces the brain's prediction system. When the body knows what's coming, it stops resisting and starts responding. That predictability reduces anxiety, lowers resting heart rate, and increases heart rate variability. All biomarkers of a recovery-ready body. The ritual becomes the message, and your biology listens to that message more clearly with each passing night. Over time, these repeated actions create a feedback loop where the body starts to anticipate rest, hormonal systems calibrate in advance, and muscle tissue is maintained and enhanced without extra physical exertion. The ritual doesn't need to be long or complicated, but it must be intentional and repeated without fail. This is how signal strength builds through familiarity, stability, and follow through. When you perform the same behavior at the same time each night, you teach your body what to prioritize. That priority becomes muscle protection and cellular regeneration, not depletion. The connection between your brain and your muscles is far more intimate and influential than most people realize. This is not just about conscious movement or lifting a weight. This is about a feedback loop that begins in the cortex and travels down the spinal cord, influencing every fiber of your body, even in sleep. The motor cortex, basal ganglia, and cerebellum work together to coordinate and refine movements, but they also play a role in maintaining strength through neural activation. Every time you visualize a movement, rehearse a skill mentally, or even recall a feeling of physical strength, you're stimulating neural pathways that keep muscles engaged and resistant to atrophy. Studies show that athletes and patients recovering from injury who engage in motor imagery experience significantly less muscle wasting. The mind quite literally keeps the muscle fibers awake, firing at a low level, maintaining tone, and protecting structure through what scientists call central drive. This means your thoughts, especially the ones you engage with in the minutes before sleep, can impact how your body preserves and allocates its resources. When you imagine strength, stability, and resilience, you're not just daydreaming, you're engaging motor units and signaling the neuromuscular system to stay activated. The power of the mind to influence muscle is most potent when the body is at rest because the central nervous system becomes more plastic, more open to rewiring during sleep, and this is where the loop comes full circle. Mental input influences physical readiness, and physical readiness reinforces mental confidence. If you go to bed feeling broken, stressed, or fatigued, your brain sends different signals to your muscular system, deprioritizing strength in favor of conserving energy for survival. But if you calm the mind, visualize strength, and align your internal narrative with physical vitality, your body adapts to that message. This is more than mindset. It's neurobiology. Your body doesn't just respond to training stress. It responds to perceived safety, internal focus, and the intentions you embed into your thoughts. The brain-muscle loop is constantly operating, and every mental image, every focused breath, every intention you set before bed becomes part of the dialogue between your neural circuits and the muscle groups they control.